welcome. Yeah, sorry, I thought I was, you're kicking it off. I've actually never kicked one off. Usually you always do.
Well, I think you're much better at this than I am, so the stage is yours. So, but
Okay.
we have
Yeah.
really two great people.
Yes,
Yeah,
amazing. Because
and
I was,
Andrea, we
oh,
we know Andrea, but we have yet another great guest.
yes, I know, which is amazing because the book that you brought vision to, because that's what I was saying in the email on how you brought vision to it, and you were saying that for publishing it, that putting it all together, and that you were talking about how they all four of them were the insight behind, and I thought that was really interesting, especially from your thing where you see this talent and put it out into the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think this book is the result of possibly more teamwork than any of our other books. I mean, we always have a team of editors and some
Yes.
form of graphic artist and everything. But this one, it was really lovely the way that Maggie wanted to reprint it, and then I knew Andrea from way back. And then he was happy to get involved. And then it just kind of evolved, didn't it, Andrea? It was like all these conversations. So he'd read a section of the book, and then we'd have a meeting about it, and he'd ask lots of questions. And then he'd send sketches, and then we'd discuss sketches. And so each section was probably about 10 or 15 pages, wasn't it?
Yeah, even more sometimes, yes. But it was interesting because, it's a topic, it's not exactly an easy topic to illustrate because there are lots of illustration. Usually you see many illustrations around, but none for me, because, the problem or the more interesting part was I didn't know anything about astrology. So I have to study to understand. And when I was seeing the old illustration, they were more confusing sometimes and they were not making clear anything. And even the illustration I found around. So we have to find a way to clarify everything. So I have to do some sketches and then, of course, share with someone that has knowledge to say they are right, they are correct. What I've done here, this is what I get it, but is it correct? And so it was a dialogue, and sometimes it was really fun because from the dialogue, more depth came more beautiful illustration, more things, and then I'm really happy that my quirky sense of humor was taking, part of the trade, was taking control of the trade and everything of the style, and it was fun.
I think your questions were so good though because they helped us see where there were gaps, what didn't make sense, and also a couple of mistakes. Because you were coming at it with a beginner's mind. That was perfect, absolutely perfect, because you couldn't illustrate something you didn't understand, and if you didn't understand it, we had to make sure that it was clear so that anybody could understand it. So I think unwittingly, you were that was a key part of the process that we hadn't even thought about, had we? Really, when we started innocently.
I think that was the most fascinating aspect of the task, because when you contacted me, I never knew anything, very little about astrology, that is practically zero. So when you introduced me to Cornelius' work with the videos and interviews and seminars that he had, I fell in love with his mind, his eclecticity. So I said, oh wow, illustrate the book of this person would be already an incredibly adventure. And then it was nice to have to study every single chapter, understand it, have the question to you. I remember our long chat, I don't get this concept. How does it work? It is like that or like that. I understood correctly. And then the process of illustration comes. But in this way, it's more, it was fresh. It was like a discovery. And I have to say, I enjoyed it a lot. It was longer. It was tough because you have to study, you have to understand, then you have to. But I think it was better because it was like an exploration process, a discovery, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were amazing. You were so patient, actually, and you worked so hard on them. And it was like attention to every single word to make it make sense. It was,
I love it. I really, really love it. I mean, it's one of the books that immediately drew me to his content with incredibly passion. So it was, yes, it was demanding, but I love it. And there are pages that I have a lot of fun. And I have to say, to be honest, maybe something I never told you. I was really anticipating the moment I was seeing you commenting on illustrations, because sometimes I did something a little bit more daring, a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a reference, and then it was incredibly amazing to see the smile, the laugh. I remember when you opened the illustration that I did about the Civil War, the English Civil War, with all the little.
My favourite. I was just going to talk about that. I was just going to say that I use that everywhere. It's on our website. I just those 4 or 5 men. And the way that they gradually change direction, and then they get fatter and older, and it's just absolutely amazing. I think your sense of humour has given it a slant.
I have a lot of fun in taking that. The funny part is that I start as this one.
Yeah, okay.
This little illustration here.
Yeah.
I have an incredible amount of fun. The idea, I mean, because I haven't illustrated the Civil War, I have no idea how to do it. So I started to look online for pictures. And of course, you don't have pictures of the Civil War. It's impossible. You have paintings. But then I discovered historical reenacting of the battles and everything. And so I studied the costume, the posture and everything. And I took some of the screenshots, I studied, and then I created this little man and everything. And I have a lot of fun in doing it. I have to say, I'm happy that you like it, because I have a lot of fun in drawing it, and it was amazing.
I liked how that you came at it, you didn't know, because all of your, drawings were from fresh perspectives and went exactly with the parts you might, not the basic ones that you would have, but like it took like the basic things but made it deeper, or it saw it in a new light. So I had a picture of that actually, but now I can't find it.
I think
I will find it.
One of the things that really helped was, Andrea, because of your knowledge of classics, I think that you were able to give the pictures much more depth because you knew what you were talking about. The conversations we had about Augustine and especially Augustine.
Yes, because I hate him. I really hate St. Augustine. I have to translate.
You were saying, no, he was horrible and he was a really nasty person and he's going to make him look really horrible.
Yes, I don't find it right now, but I put all my hate for this character in the drawing and I have a lot of fun. It was my revenge. Yes, I think I was lucky because because I studied Greek and Latin and then I studied philosophy at university, this kind of the ancient world of the world of the thinking, the idea of the progress of the idea was my training and I have a lot of fun. So yes, I never think, easier. I found something easier.
Yeah.
It's nasty, it's horrible, it's assertive, it's judgmental, as it was in real life, Not that I knew that well. Anyway.
And I love the way that you did the psychologist as well, the way you did Freud and Jung, with the curly thing and the pie. And there's so much detail in every single picture that showed that you really did understand what you were drawing, and taking the tiniest nuance from it. That's what I loved.
It was challenging. It was challenging, but it was incredibly fun. And then it's very well written. I like it. The part that personally I love the most, because it's the one that is closest to my training and everything, is the first part. Is the historical part. It was so well done, so amazing. It makes you dream. It's the kind of style, narrative style, the open images in your mind. And I like it. This is what a good book should be. When I saw, my mother used to do something with astrology. I remember she was doing calculation and things and everything. But I never read her books. But I remember to have opened them, and they were incredibly dry, incredibly technical, incredibly mathematical. This one is the first astrological book that I see with a soul, with character. And I connected immediately with Cornelius. And honestly, when I was illustrating the book, I keep having this thinking like, I'm so sorry that he's not here anymore, because this is the person that I would like to spend a lot of time with, talking about everything. His mind was absolutely amazing. For what I could see from the recording of his interview and his speeches, incredible.
Yeah, he had the gift of being able to talk to anybody at any level. You know, whenever you asked him, he was always gracious and knowledgeable and patient, and he had a great sense of humour, a very dry sense of humour as well. Because there was one time when we were editing the Moment of Astrology, which is his big book, and I could hear these seagulls like really screeching, and I said to him, "Do you live like really close to the sea?" Because I knew where they lived, but I didn't know exactly, hadn't seen it. He said, yeah, pretty close. And then about 2 years later, I was at a conference in Kent, and they had an event at their home afterwards. So we went there, and it was literally on the beach. Their home is literally on the beach. And he showed me his study, and the sea is probably about 10 feet away. You know, and I said, "You're pretty close there." He said, "Yeah." She said, he was just so sort of, I don't know, humble about it. It was really lovely. Great guy, much loved and much missed.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine.
That was my favorite section too, about the history, because you don't really go into the people who found the stars or the history of how it's changed through the years. Because even, the pole star changes every 26,000 years, and nobody goes in how each one of them sees it differently, except for this one, except for him. I like that drawing too. Look at that.
Oh, that's one of my favorites as well. Yeah.
Yes, that's yes, I love that one because it's so true. Like, like building on what everyone else has done before, but seeing it differently in that modern lens and how they're changing it.
Yeah.
That and like you said, easy to read because like even these drawings where it's literally explaining how you're getting how you're calculating it, how you're getting it. People don't, sometimes I feel like the most imaginative ones, instead of like he was saying the dry way to put it, or just mathematical things, that sometimes you need that picture of the baby, like how it is going.
Yeah. There's just humour in all of the characters, and kind of they were like this troupe of people who were going through the book, and I almost feel like they were all sad when it came to an end, because the characters got stronger, hadn't they, Andrea? Because they became, I don't know, you really said who was there. It was really quite strange, especially the ones that appeared a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, one of the really interesting things was that the way it changed the title as well, because it was originally called Astrology for Beginners. And then that's what the first incarnation of it was. And then as we worked through it, I think we both decided it wasn't really for beginners, didn't we? It was more of an overview.
Yeah, we have a dialogue about that, because at the end, what I really love about working on this book, that the team was very open. There was a dialogue, so no one was offended when an idea was proposed. So a correction of an illustration, of a correction of a phrasing, of a title, of something, like little things. But I think toward the end, when we have almost finished the book, we realized that calling like Astrology for Beginners were not giving justice to the book, because it was so far more. And the title came. I don't know how it came, but we talk about it, and the title came, and I like that.
I think it's the title of part 4, isn't it? The Astrologer's Universe. I think it's the name of one of the parts.
Yeah, maybe yes.
Yeah, because Maggie suggested it. Because when I said I don't think it's not really a beginner book, it doesn't show you how to calculate a chart. It doesn't show you how to read a chart. It explains what the dynamics are, but it doesn't actually teach a beginner to read a chart. And that's when we realised that the title didn't actually match the contents. And that's when the whole idea of the universe that was just perfect. And it's just like there's everything packed into this tiny little book that an astrologer could possibly want to know about, about astrology, but they're also like little hints. So you could take it further. Like any one of those sections, like the history section, and read loads more about it. And you could do that with all of the sections. Yeah. This one worked really well.
No, I think it's one of these books that when you read it, it's like having a general idea, but deep enough to quench your thirst for the argument, but then you want to know more. You want is the kind of book that would open the door and you immediately already crossing it. It's fascinating. I think it was what was my feeling with the book, and what I was sad about it. It was finished because it was so fun to collaborate, to create. We are, I think, almost a weekly meeting, something like that. It was repetitive, almost the same period of time. A certain group of illustration, discussing, the sketching, then the inking, and then the shipping. I mean, sending everything, and then talking again. It was a very nice process. I remember the first time that I saw then the illustration in the page with the text and everything. It was emotional. It was beautiful. I really, really, really like it. I think the editor of the book, the designer of the book, did a very good job in using the illustration, because this is, I mean, you can create how beautiful illustration you want, but if they are not inserted in the book in a way that make everything alive, because what is important is to have the dialogue between the text, the chart, and the graphic, the illustration. When everything combines perfectly, everything is like a one of the same discourse. It is not something separate. It is a unicum, and I like that.
Yeah, Kevin was amazing, actually, wasn't he? Because I remember in the beginning, he hadn't done anything like that before. He's our typesetter who does all of our other books, and he had never been presented with something like this before. But he caught on so quickly, and I think he enjoyed it as a diversion from the day job, because he loved, getting the words to wander across the page in a curve to match the pictures.
I noticed, and I love it.
Yeah, I think he really enjoyed it too, and it was a very synergistic feeling between all of us. I think it was.
We have to work together again. It will be absolutely fun. We have to find another book to print, illustrate, and write, or the other way around. Sorry, read, write, illustrate, and print. Otherwise, doesn't make sense.
I'd like to get Maggie to write another one. She's doing a book on horror astrology.
I know. Interesting. I've only read one book on the subject, but it was very, very basic. And it was very just the basic information on horoscopes.
On horror. Which book did you read? I was just interested.
I'm looking it up.
Could you explain to the listeners what that means somehow?
What horror means? Horror astrology. Horror astrology actually goes back a very long time, and it's asking a question. So things like, will the house sell? Does he love me? Will we get divorced? Is the dog going to live? All that kind of thing. That's being a little bit flippant. But it used to be, certainly in William Lilly's day, they asked very important questions, like, should the king go into battle? And so the indicators in the chart are really crucial, and it's a very powerful and a very precise way of using astrology. It's completely different from psychological astrology or any of the other forms. And you have to have you've got to be able to see things in black and white. I have done a horary course, but I'm a very kind of shades of grey person, and so you have to know there's lots of rules, and you have to know if this planet is there, it means this, or if there's early degrees rising or very late degrees rising, then you can't read the chart. That's all these rules, and you have to be able to abide by the rules and see them really clearly. And some horary astrologers are incredible. We've done about 4 books on horary astrology, I think.
Are those the psyche ones, or is that the because I was trying to look up all the books you guys had put out before, had put out before then, besides the ones you wrote yourself with the blogs.
Math in the Psyche is psychological astrology. That's Claire Martin, and she's a psychologist. Barbara Dunn, horary astrology re-examined. We've done Petros Eleftheriadis, who teaches for Barbara's school. He's done 2 books. Oscar Hoffman, he's done some as well. Wonderseller. Yeah, it's you have to have a very sharp brain to be able to do that and make sense. It's not a touchy-feely kind of subject.
Well, that's why when I was looking up your publishing company, I was looking at all the different books you did, and it is all geared toward astrology. And that's why I was curious about your blogs too, that you had started, through your, yeah, I thought that it's because does that have a lot of astrology in it? Or like I said, I ordered some of them, but
Well, I started a Substack account so that I could do more than the newsletter. We send a newsletter out periodically, but I wanted to be more chatty. I've got to do another one because we've got some other exciting stuff coming out. But
that's exciting.
it's more a chance to just to have a chat, talk about different books that are coming out, and also the background to them as well. I mean, like with that one, it was it's like a tale of two books, because it used to be this, and now it's completely reincarnated to something different, serving a different purpose and reaching a completely different generation. And that was the thing that it kind of came out of it, really, because the books have a life of their own, and certainly that one has got an incredibly rich life. It's got amazing pedigree.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, I like that you bring that up too, because next generation, because I feel like right now we are in that next generation, like, where those new people, especially with this book, new people are coming up, and this book is so great for everyone coming into it, because it's going to give you that excitement that I want to dive further now into this, because you have everything you need for it, but it makes you laugh. It's exciting. It sparks your imagination, puts you deeper so that you want to find out more about astrology.
Yeah, that's very true. And the demographic has changed as well, because, when I started doing astrology 30 years ago, it was a much older readership, and the people who went to conferences were much older and mostly women. And now that's really changed, and we've got really young people at the head of the Astrological Association now, and it's completely, they bring all the knowledge of technology with them, which is amazing. And so really you almost wouldn't recognise a conference from, say, 30 years ago, technologically speaking, with half of it being online, recorded. It's absolutely amazing. And they bring that, each generation brings something with them, I think. And they've certainly brought the excitement and interest and the ability to do lots of stuff with the techie equipment.
Yeah. I was going to say, because you guys were talking about the next project too. Would it be something aligned with that for the
Horary book?
Yeah.
I don't know. The books that we publish are usually pretty dense, high-level astrology books for students. We don't usually do beginner-level books, and this book just happened because I knew Maggie and Jeffrey anyway, and Maggie wanted to get it into print in a new form. Yeah. But we wouldn't usually have a book with those kind of illustrations. So I don't know, but the door is absolutely definitely open for Andrea to create something.
Let's see if the opportunity arises. I mean, I'm always here. Of course, is a style and a kind of illustration that require the right book. So is you don't have to. I mean, it's correct. If it fits, it doesn't. It doesn't. Is perfect like that. So it's great. Now, for me, it's strange to think about astrology, because there is one thing that I really love from my childhood. It was the stars. I remember when we were spending the night in a little island in Sardinia, an island of Sardinia, this is San Pietro, so St. Peter Island, a very little place, and many times the electricity went off, and so you have nothing to do. So you take the car, you go to the hill, and you were just stretched on the grass or on the beach, and you were watching on the stars. And my mother was teaching me and my brother to recognize all the constellations, the planets and everything. So I remember that. But then unfortunately, growing up, the sky started to be less visible because the light pollution is so humongous that the last time I saw a beautiful Milky Way, I don't even remember when it was. I mean, but I remember the Milky Way of my childhood. When you see this condensation of stars there crossing the sky, it's absolutely amazing. Now it's difficult to see it. You have to go to a very remote place. And I miss that. I really, really miss it. I don't think I will be even able anymore to recognize the stars. So for me, was drawing this book, illustration this book, it was like remembering a little bit of that night spent at the seaside, pointing the finger at the stars and I remember when I was a kid, it was incredibly difficult. Like, do you see the moon? Go on the right. Yes, okay, which one? And then follow my finger. Hey, follow your finger. We have a lot of fun. We really have a lot of fun.
That's great.
I can see that in the book. that wanting to dive deeper back into the stars, or making you remember why you started your journey into astrology, journey into the stars?
Yeah, I think there is a problem, as Andrea says, with not even being able to see the stars. To get the connection. One of our authors, Bernadette Brady, she's passionate about the astronomy side of it, and she has lots of projects of returning the stars to astrology, so that people relate what they're seeing on the chart to what they're seeing in the sky. It's not one of my strongest areas, but certainly it's helpful if you can see what's going on in the sky. But because we can't so much of the time, it's either cloudy or there's light pollution. So I think we're in danger of losing that connection. The cover just sums it up perfectly, with the three wise men pointing up to the sky. I think they would miss that now, to be honest. They wouldn't know anything was happening.
Yes, but I think it's very, very important and very poetic if you are able to do astrology, not just on paper, on a computer, calculation and dot on a computer, but just on the sky, because everything that you are there on the paper is correspond to something that is there above your head. So you can connect them is absolutely, is poetic. And that is what I would like is when I was illustrating the book, I looked for a lot of picture of the cosmos, because to draw inspiration, to see, to remember, and I loved that. It was part of the process that brought me ideas and gave me idea and vision. Then I transferred to the content of the book. Without it, I think it would my style or the illustration would be quite drier or less inspiring, because I try to be inspired while doing the book, because it's beautiful, and then my job is my passion. It's beautiful when you can translate something like that, giving a soul to something that is given to you. So it was fantastic.
Yes, you can see that, in there. That's true, because you never think you can't see the stars. That's why people have those apps, and it's on an app, but it doesn't really show what's happening in the sky. Like the sun takes 29 days to do its evolution, but like stars, like the Pleiadian stars, take only like the day, so they're bright, they're blinking, they're faster, they're and missing that magic that you don't see anymore.
Yeah, where we are, it's quite hard to see the sky, and it'd be nice to relate back to it. But
that's everywhere, I think. Because I was trying to think the last time I saw the oops, what's happening? Sorry, my nephew's tablet keeps going. Last time I saw it, I think it was like in the middle of nowhere. It's like one of those scary paths where it's like, oh, you're about to enter something that's 200 miles is the next gas. So get gas, it's like the start of a horror movie. But you also get to see the stars, You also get to see everything.
I think last time I saw a beautiful sky, I was in Arizona.
Oh my gosh, me too.
That is what was one of the most beautiful places to observe the sky for me, because that I knew, because there are no cities around, and the night is really night. I love it. I remember that area. Arizona was amazing.
Yes. No, that's exactly what I was. 200 miles of nothing. Like you see.
I like it.
Right on the border.
I think this is the reason why I fell in love with Arizona. It's one of my favorite states in the States, because there's nothing. You feel nature. Is absolutely fantastical.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There is absolutely. That's because it gets to like 110 degrees in the summer. So, nobody wants to move there.
I
have no problem with that.
I don't either.
That's what the sun's, speaking of like the stars, the sun's actually trying to kill you there,
I have to try here to go north and go to the little island of Scotland or something like that, and see if in the middle of nowhere in Scotland, in remote places, you can see the stars. I have to try, but unfortunately it's always cloudy, so England is not exactly the perfect place to observe the sky, because you have to be very, very lucky. Otherwise it is...
Yeah.
And for the layman listening, because I am somehow a layman in astrology, I know some things, but it's very superficial. What is your take on this? Why would you advise people to engage with astrology? And in which way would they benefit from it in their life?
That's a small question, not.
We are not here for small talk.
No, wow, God. I mean, I can't imagine a life without understanding astrology, because it gives you so much understanding of human nature. I think that's the most important thing, just to kind of give it a personal slant. When I started astrology, I had small children, and they were all kind of, the other mums were like, oh, don't you want to pick them up? And, this is gorgeous, and empty nest syndrome and everything. And I was like, no, not really, not my thing, which made me feel incredibly guilty. And then when I started doing astrology, and I saw that I've actually got a Virgo moon, which is not touchy-feely. It's about being of service. It's about clear thinking. It's ruled by Mercury. It's also with Pluto, which is is like the closest planet and the furthest planet. So it's looking deeply into things. It's not sort of having loads of cuddles with your children and making them cakes and parties and all that kind of stuff, which is a world I didn't fit into. And so after quite a long time of having felt guilty, once I understood my chart, I could actually let that go and thought, no, I can be the best me that I can be now. And as a result, because Virgo is about communication as well, being ruled by Mercury, I have a fantastic relationship with my two boys now. Absolutely brilliant. And I think using astrology as a tool to understanding yourself and to understanding other people is incredibly powerful, which is why it's so good with psychology, which is why, we publish people like Liz Green and, lots of amazing psychological astrologers. It gives you a whole new dimension.
Yeah.
And do you approach that from a more philosophical, hermetic point of view, from as above, so below, or what is your take on that?
Actually, we're doing a book on that with somebody. It's just being worked on at the moment, and there's something called the Arabic parts in astrology, which are various calculations which give you metaphorical points. So they don't actually exist. They're not stars. They're not planets. And there's one called the part of fortune, and there's one called the part of spirit. And it really brings up the whole thing of fate or free will, and that there are some gifts, there are some things that you're born with, and then there are some decisions that you make, and those two things can manifest very differently in your life. So you could be born with a natural ability, say, to speak languages. There are some people who can easily speak several languages. But maybe you have to work harder at other areas of your life. And so those other areas are what you would call your fortune, because if you apply yourself and you develop those skills, then, they become a richer part of your life. And the fate or free will question it's been there since the beginning. I mean, that's what people talk about, because they ask whether astrology is taking control, is making you like looking at your chart saying, well, that's who I am, I can't do any more. But that's not the case. That's your birth chart is your potential, and what you do with it is up to you. That's your fortune. You can choose to do nothing at all, or you can use the potential that you've been given. And that's what's so exciting.
Yeah. And how should you go about after that? So you somehow know, okay, this is my constellation, or this is my birth chart, and then what happens? Because then but then I assume that you have to do a lot of stuff in according with that basic principle to make the utmost out of it. Or am I saying something strange here?
No, not at all. It's a living entity, because it's although you're born with birth chart, the planets are still, we call it transiting. They're still going around the solar system. And so they'll be moving. So, for instance, if you've got wherever the sun is, say you're Sun in Aries, you know, and there's lots of stuff going on in Aries at the moment, then you've naturally got enthusiasm, and you do want to get things going, and you are kind of quite courageous and brave and a bit gung-ho. If Saturn in the sky is moving over your sun, which actually Saturn has moved into Aries, then Saturn is like the disciplinarian. Saturn forces you to have structure and to obey the rules and to concentrate, which is something that a sun in Aries might not want to do, because they enjoy being sort of lively and, you know, having fun and zooming off and doing things, being spontaneous. And when Saturn is going over their sun, Saturn is saying, no, you need to concentrate. You know, so if you understand what's going on in your chart, you can see that Saturn's come along for a reason, and it's there to help you concentrate and focus, and you can use that time constructively. If you don't understand astrology, you might wonder why you're feeling as though you're blocked and you can't do what you want, and why do you have to pay attention to these details you're not interested in, and you could rebel against it and not use the time that you've been given to be constructive. That's a very good Saturnian word, constructive. So for me, that understanding is crucial, and it happens all the time in your chart. So you'll go through periods of more activity, or maybe illness, or lots of ideas, or lots of good luck coming your way, being busy, not being busy, and all of those things can be highlighted by looking at what the planets are doing on your chart. And you can use that time to use them as best you can. And that's something, you don't have any of that if you don't understand astrology. You're just literally living life day to day. You don't have a chance to look at the different levels, which is what fascinates me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and how many value can people give at an horoscope that they're just reading like a magazine? Well,
Sorry, say that again.
How many value can we give reading such an horoscope or in a magazine or something, or in a paper?
Well, those horoscopes are usually written by really good astrologers. It's actually quite hard to write a horoscope column that makes sense to people, to everybody. And if it gets people interested in astrology, I think that's great. You know, I mean, practically every astrologer I know started out with Linda Goodman's Sun Sign book. You know, we all started somewhere. When I was 8, I think one of my brothers bought my mum Linda Goodman's Sun Sign. So I grew up, you know, it's kind of reading that stuff and looking for boyfriends who were the right sign, and didn't work. I've got to
did you ever refuse someone who was not the right sign?
Yeah, that's interesting, the whole you know, compatibility thing, definitely. But I think anything, you know, that if people are reading their sun signs, then that's getting people interested. You know, you don't read them as a prescriptive thing. You read them as a kind of from a point of interest, like, oh, you know.
It is very fascinating.
No, I was just saying I wouldn't be without it. I can't imagine you know, not having that knowledge at my disposal. So
no, I was just going to agree with you on the horoscope things, because a lot of them, like Christopher Renstrom, even he does horoscopes, but he's like, it's amazing to listen to him speak just in detail. He did this one full moon talk before where he literally, and actually, Andrea, I was actually thinking of you when he did this. He literally went through the entire chart as a fairy tale. Like Saturn was, it was so, I can imagine just a book with pictures and stuff, because Saturn was, you know, the bad stepdad, you know what I mean? And then you had the stepmother in there in one of the houses, and he worked it like he was telling a fairy tale all the way through, and it was so amazing, you know? So their minds on how you see the different layers of astrology has always fascinated me, and you just want to learn more, you know?
One of the books we've got coming along, actually, beginning of June, it's called The Planetary Dialogues, and it's by Andrea. This is confusing. It's a lady, Andrea, and John Wadsworth. And in there, they used to be in a relationship, and in their relationship, they're both astrologers, And in their relationship, they were exploring the different archetypes. And so we've got dialogues between the sun and the moon, and between the moon and Mercury, between Mercury and Jupiter. And there's 9 dialogues, actually. And also Gaia, the Earth, is involved as well. So there's so much potential for astrodrama and to actually live that sort of energy of the planet. So Jupiter is going to be expansive and glorious and kingly, and Mercury is going to be sort of really speedy and try to kind of work his way around Jupiter and trick him and things. And Saturn is going to come along and like wave his stick and say, no, but you've got to concentrate. And there's people, it's called astrodrama, and there's people who, like John and Andrea, who actually tour, they do shows and everything, and it's like living the planets.
I like the idea. It's very fascinating.
Yeah,
yes,
it's got an amazing. This is just a proof, but this is the cover.
Oh, if you put it up a little bit, just
I love the cover. I love the cover already attract you in the book. You said, yes, I want to see it.
It's always the imagination can go so wild. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's where it helps to know your chart. Because you're understanding yourself better. So people like Andrea and John have got that performative thing. They like to be on stage and to reach into the personalities of the planets. And everybody has a different way of approaching that. I mean, because I've got a Moon-Pluto conjunction, which is kind of a really tight conjunction that encourages me to go deep. So I like kind of depth psychology and to like Liz Green's book, Dark of the Soul, which is the astrology of psychopathology, of psychopaths, and I lost an entire weekend really reading that about serial killers and what makes people sociopaths, and that happens to be my particular thing, delving really deeply into the psyche. And I think when people get involved in astrology, they tend to head towards one particular area that fascinates them, that resonates with them. And that's why we've got so many different subjects. That's what's so interesting. Everyone brings their own personality to it.
Oh, go ahead.
I always see like different approaches to the year wheel. So often you see Cancer is like on top in the north, or sometimes it's like Aries. What's your take on that, and why is that?
Sorry, I missed the first part of what you said.
That I always see like different year wheels, different approaches, where you look like on top of the year wheel, like the north. Often you see like Cancer, or you see like Aries, and you have like different approaches. And why is that? And what is, according to you, the best way to go about with that?
What you mean on the birth chart?
Yeah, on the year wheel. So you have like the year wheel, on the wheel. The wheel of the year. What's in the north? What's in the south? What's in the right place according to you?
Well, the birth chart itself is set by the time that you're born. So everybody will have a different birth chart with different signs ascending and different degrees of those signs ascending. So is that what you're asking? Like which of the?
No, it's just the year wheel. So if you imagine the year wheel with all those zodiac signs, the 12 zodiac signs, but then it depends on how you look at it. Often you see like Cancer is like in the north, or somehow like where it splits. You have like the year wheel, like in paganism, where you have like the year.
It's like the Sabbats. So like the Sabbats, or.
Yeah, I don't know that term, but then often you see like that the year wheel is divided in 12 slices, but then people take like different things on top, like in the north. Often I see Cancer or Aries, and I cannot really get my head around why they do that or how they go about. Yeah, I have my own idea in this, but it's not about me. I want to hear your expertise, insights on that.
So like the wheel of the year, like how you have Beltane, Samhain, and then the zodiac, or the actual birth chart?
Yeah.
Okay.
The year wheel, just the year wheel, and how people go about it. They say, okay, it's like from January to to December. Where is that on the year wheel?
I'm not sure I completely understand what you're asking. I'm sorry.
Just drop it. Just drop it.
Okay, well, I think I have tonight. So, real quick, because it's always going to change when people are born, but are you talking about like Beltane's here, Samhain's here? Because those have a completely different zodiac. Each month has a different zodiac. And I know I showed you my wheel one time, but that was just my casting board. So that just came with like Aries. That's the pie crust of the the pie crust of the chart, like, and then depending on, so is it one of those? I'm just like throwing some stuff out because I've talked a lot of astrology to him, so I don't know if it's something I showed you.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I observe, and there are several takes on that. Also from archaic viewpoint, where they see like, okay, if you look at above, like in the zenith, so that's like in the north. And I often see like if you have like an Asiatic ideas that you have somehow the cosmic man, but then what's on his head? Does it start there with Cancer or with Aries? That's like in the year wheel where someone is like erected, but where someone is standing, where you have like the solstices and all those, where autumn starts and spring.
I think that's probably where you need to get Bernadette Brady on. You need to talk to Bernadette Brady because she can talk about that kind of stuff for hours. I'm quite happy to introduce you because that's that kind of thing is her specialist area.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to intrude on that. My answer.
I think I know what you're talking about now.
And the essay on the Midwinter Festival. And so I gave this suggestion of like the sign of Cancer could be, but that's like an interpretation, but something to work with as two pieces of like the world tree. But that also fits with if you have like the closing and the opening of the gate in the north and the south with the idea of the Roman Janus, then it would be logically that Cancer is on top. Some other people said Aries there, which could also be with the same idea because the sign of Aries could also somehow allude to that. It's like a playful thing in my mind, but I always wonder what expertise.
You need Bernadette. I think what's fascinating about this is that astrology is one of those subjects that the more you learn, the more you realise there is to learn. And it goes off in so many different directions, and it's so linked, as you can see from the historical part at the beginning of the book. And it all relates. That's what is so interesting. If you go back to the times when, but this is another of Bernadette's specialist areas, in the ancient times when they did look up at the sky and they could see the omens in the sky. I mean, that's another thing that Geoffrey was passionate about, was divination, and how it kind of almost didn't matter what was on the chart because the way you read it was the divination. And in fact, I've got a story about that. When we were redoing Moment of Astrology, we were in a shared office block. And so I'd got Geoffrey's book up on the screen, and somebody came into me and they said, I can't find my keys, I've got to go, I've got a meeting and I can't find my car keys, like help me. And so I thought, I ran up a chart and I said, well, I think from this, it looks like the keys are outside because they were in Libra. So I said, they're outside in the air. And I would say, I think Mercury was involved. Are they under the car wheel or something like that? She went out, found them, fantastic, drove off, really happy. And so I phoned Geoffrey and I said, you never believe what's just happened. And I started telling him about it. And I hadn't actually called up a new chart. I had, by mistake, got the charts, one of the charts from his book. So I'd actually given her the correct answer from a chart that didn't relate in the slightest. It wasn't, I read it as a horary chart, but it wasn't, for the moment. Yeah. And he just laughed. He said, that's great. That's what divination is about. He said, that's the way it's supposed to work.
I like that. It's fantastic.
I love that. Because that's how they used to, do it. Like when Cassiopeia was upside down or right side up. Upside down because you're being punished, right side up because you're not being punished, and looking into the sky to see that divinatory thing. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it crosses over into tarot and oracles and, all kinds of stuff. So like for Andrea, that wouldn't have been much of a leap for you, really, the symbolism, would it, for the astrology, because you've got it with all the tarot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what I liked. When I approached the book and saw astrology for the first time in a deeper way, I liked it. I saw immediately like a language, and a poetic language, and I liked it, made of symbols. But then the connection between the symbols is mathematical, and this fascinated me more because it's a technical language. But then there is a lot of poetry, a lot of different way of reading and saying they say the same sentences, and I like that. It's really, really fascinating. And for all the time I was illustrating the book, I keep having in my ear one of the sentences, of what is my favorite Roman poet, Ovid. Ovid says, I think he says in the Metamorphoses, says, the gods give the man a face with two eyes so they could look up in the sky and see the stars. And I think this is incredibly fascinating because from the moment we have a trace from prehistory history, what we were drawn, our attention was the stars, looking for answer, looking for, even practically, the right time when you have to seed, when you have to harvest, when the cycle of the moon, the cycle of fertility. Everything is connected in a way that is incredibly symbolic, incredibly sociological, from a sociological point of view, anthropological point of view. Is incredibly fascinating. And I think that what I like of Geoffrey approach is that is connect all the dots of different disciplines, of different it's like seeing something like, I don't know, astrology, but from different point of view every time. And in the same speech he was able to make you had spin all around the different lenses, the different approaches that you can have. And I think it what attracted me. I keep saying one word is poetry. For me, it was incredibly beautiful poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he was actually involved in divination and tarot before astrology. He used to read tarot cards when he was at university, and all the other kids were going out and meeting the loves of their life and everything, and then getting heartbroken, and then coming back and asking him, and he would do tarot spreads for them. So he actually did all of that before he got involved in astrology. So his background was divination before astrology. In fact, we're going to be doing a book which is probably going to be called The Companion to Moment of Astrology, and it's going to have some articles and also some transcribed interviews with Geoffrey, because his background is absolutely fascinating of how he went through. So there's a story all on its own. And I think it would help people to understand divination, because I'm definitely not an expert at that level, but people find it quite hard some people find it hard to, as a concept, to look at, it used to be birds, didn't it? Which direction the birds were flying in and all that kind of thing, to use that as a symbol in your life. Mm-hmm. And he's got incredible stories that help to set the scene for people, because Moment of Astrology is a very rigorous book, to put it mildly, and it's not easy to just dive straight in. So I had this idea as we were talking with Maggie to bring together quite a few of his articles and interviews, so that people could get more of an understanding, a background to it. It's like divination for beginners, I guess. The divinated universe, look.
Yes, it's fantastic. I think as a publisher, you should publish like an encyclopedia, when every single volume is a different approach of astrology. So you start with history, and then you have all the other different approach. You have a big series of books. It would be incredibly fascinating.
Yes. Yeah, it could carry on forever.
Yes, I know. I know. It would be a humongous task, but a fun one. I liked it.
Another fascinating subject in regards of astrology, I also find what is hidden in myths and in folklore. For instance, like the comet in the Arthur legends, or the Star of Bethlehem, or like in folklore where you have like the star singers. With like what is the English wording escapes me. I'm sorry. Like what we do on the 6th of January, where you have like
Epiphany Day.
Epiphany Day. Yeah,
Epiphany
and
Day.
especially like here in Europe, they are like the star singers, like kids doing like going round. I really find that very inspiring. Also, because that also alludes to something big is coming when there is something in mythology in regards of like a comet, or when there are in certain mythologies that is some name. Okay, there appears like a Capricorn in the sky. That's also the idea of Renewal after the midwinter solstice and all that. So there is a lot of things hidden also in mythology, even like in religion.
Oh yeah, it's interesting you say about the comets actually, because we've also done a book on that.
I was going to say this one too. Oh, comets, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
yes.
Rod Chang, he's incredible, and that's a whole study of the historical events that coincided with comets being seen in the sky, and there's so much information attached to them, like the shape they were, which direction they were going in, how many tails they had, what colour they had, how long they appeared for, because you can't look at them like a planet, because obviously they move differently from a planet. But it is absolutely fascinating, because I remember with my kids watching Comet Halley-Bopp. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
The two tails. And it hung around for absolutely ages, and at first it was like really exciting for about the first week or so, and then the kids would be like, "Oh, you're going to look at that comet again, Mum?" That hung around for a long time. That's what I mean. It's such a rich subject which goes off into so many others. Yeah, I'll give you a whole list.
A lot of that is also hidden in symbology. If you somehow dive deep into mythology, you also, like, these comets are also often alluding to jewelry, and also like you have like in the Arthur legends, and you even see that like in Mecca, where the stone where they go round by. There's also the idea that's like falling from the sky. There's always something that is falling from the sky, like the stone from the crown of the angels and all that. I often think that also alludes to comets.
Yeah.
Too, you did touch in the book, I don't know if you drew about it, with the symbolism of Sirius. So like where it arrives to say the flooding of the Nile, and then I'll have to find it in the book.
Oh yes, I think it's the beginning, if I remember right, because it was the historical part. Yeah, if I remember right, yes. I mean,
it's again more like it's a form of the divination. It's a form of what you're talking about. When Sirius appeared, they knew the Niles would flood. You know, if this star appeared, the crops are not going to come. Like it was just always that kind of warning, foreboding thing. And I like that you guys covered it in the book as well.
I think that's a huge strength. I think that's what made us realise it isn't really an astrology beginner's book. It's much richer than that, and we've had some amazing reviews on it from quite noteworthy astrologers who say that's all you need, like that's your resource, and from that there's so many references in it, you can dip into so many different areas, whether you want to go into the ancient astronomy of it, or the symbolism, or the mythology, or the psychiatry, or because the two of them listed all different kinds of astrologer and sort of roughly what they do, and the fabulous pictures from Andrea just shows you that you can go all these diverse routes. I think that's the strength of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you did a subsiding of the Nile with Cancer, because Sirius is hey, everything's about to flood, and the Nile's like everything's fine again. I mean, sorry, the Cancer. So you're like too many stars in my head.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I remember with the little cockroach there.
Yeah, we had some quite interesting discussions with Maggie, didn't we? When
yes,
I would draw something, and I'd say, that's really good, and send it to Maggie, and she'd, no, that won't work. It's got to have a line here, and it's got to go. She was really picky, wasn't she, about some of them?
Yes, I remember, yes. I think it was that one, yes. I remember, because there was something that, I mean, the fantasy went beyond the reality, and we needed to streamline a little bit. But I liked it too. I mean, it's part of the game at the end. The word illustration, when one can express more the fantastic side. I mean, I remember when I have to illustrate, now I don't remember the name, sorry. I think it was the English astronomer, the one that was analyzing urine, There was something like that connected. Do you remember?
Oh, oh, I
And
remember that. That's what they used to do. That was, decompaging
and I have
chart.
to illustrate, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to do something gross. We have to do
Yeah,
something
I'm not going
funny."
to draw urine.
And then we came up with something that was incredibly funny. I don't remember now. I have to find it again in the book. But anyway, it's there. So maybe it's better not show everything and people have to find something. But that story of that man was quite peculiar. I don't remember now the details, but there were a lot of stuff that were quite quirky. And I have a lot of fun in find a way to represent it in the right way. But anyway.
Yeah, that was the medical astrology section. Sorry.
Would you also be able to see in the stars where astrology is going to? What will be the future development?
Oh, that's actually really interesting because I took part in Kepler College discussion a few weeks ago. Kepler College are a really big astrology school in the States. And one of the things they were looking at is the use of AI in astrology because people are using AI to write astrology, just like they're using it to tidy up their writing, to write their course notes. They're using it for so many things. And it's turning into a real problem, actually. I think that some of our mission is to retain the purity and the heritage and the lineage of astrology. I feel really passionately about that. And we have to really guard against it because there's quite a few sites now that you can wander into and you can't actually see who the astrologer is because it's hidden and it just has some fancy name, Astrostar or something, I don't know. And you can pay your money and you can get your synastry report or your birth report or whatever. And it's written by AI. It's not a human. And what they don't realise, and this happened with one of our books, is that the way they train AI is they scrape the data illegally to program the AI. So the AI will regurgitate whatever has been programmed into it. So it's theoretically using the knowledge of people like Howard and Sportus and Liz Green and Jeffrey Cornelius and everything. But there's something missing, and you can sort of see. It's like something might be written very efficiently, but there's no soul in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I saw the same process with tarot reading. When they are mechanical, they can be precise, whatever, in the writing, in the concept. But then you see there is no soul. And then again, I think for tarot, the connection between the reader and the querent is is important. You cannot read without seeing the person or talking with the person. I mean, it's a connection, it's a human connection. But I think we are experimenting. It's like we have just discovered this new shiny toy and now we are using for everything. And some use of the AI is fantastic. I mean, I was reading a paper about the use of AI in archaeology, and they are feeding the AI with the data, that they are scanned with microscanner, the Herculaneum roll, the one that was completely burned. And then now I managed to read them without open them. But then you have part of letters or it's like a puzzle and you have to put all together. And they ask the AI to do it. And they check, they follow everything. And it's amazing. They are recovering ancient texts. So it's a tool. It's depending on how you use it. Of course, now a lot of people using it, like, as you said, the AI stole a lot of art, knowledge, and writings for everyone and everywhere. And is regurgitating everything, but I think it's the superficial part, because if you're using for doing research, or if you're doing for the analysis of data, that can be really intriguing. And I mean, of course we can do it. The guy I don't remember the name, is an archaeologist that collaborated with a scientist to this project. He said, of course human can do, but with AI, the time is incredibly short. We need a lot of resources if we want to have men putting all the symbol together and create this puzzle, solve the puzzle. So it's interesting. I'm not against AI by principle. I'm against AI. It depends on how we use. It's like a knife. You can use it to slice an apple or to kill someone.
Yeah, but what's... No, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I think that's the problem, because people are using it as a substitute for effort. And I don't think there's ever a substitute for effort. If you're going to write a book, you have to write a book. You know, you don't program it into AI and say, okay, so I want to write a book on, you know, medical astrology or something, and I want it to cover this, this, and this. They press a button, and probably 15 minutes later, this book will appear. You know, and there's no sense when you read a book like that. There's no sense of following in someone's footsteps.
Yeah.
You know, that picture that Andrea drew of all the books, and you know, it's kind of like you're standing on the shoulders of the people that went before you. AI obviously doesn't do that. And you're also only having the information, you're only being given the information that's actually been programmed into it. So, for instance, somebody sent me something for Nick Campion, just an overview of Nick Campion, who's done lots of amazing books, and they'd missed out really key astrology books because whoever was programming the stuff into the AI clearly either didn't want to know properly about astrology or didn't know how to find those books. So, you know, what they sent me was like a completely bland review of what Nick Campion does. You know, and it's one-sided, it's artificial, it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I did? I did an experiment a few weeks ago talking about AI with a friend because he said, you know, if you want to write a book now, you can do it, as you said. And then I said, no, I don't think is it possible, and I want to demonstrate it. And I said, let's talk about a topic that the two of us will know. And I said, I do this experiment. And I said, okay, I send the line of instructions and I send to AI to my friend. And then I send the writing. It was just a little chapter. It was about an ancient philosopher, something about Plato. I don't remember exactly what. And then I said, this is what the information that they fed, and with Greek references, mythology, and etymology, something like that. It's very deep, but it was wrong. And I said, no, this is wrong. This is the wrong translation of this part, and this is not correct. This is wrong information. It's an oversimplification. And then there was connection. They were completely disconnected. They were not real. He said Plato never did something like that. So if you know the matter, you can spot this kind of stuff. It's because, I mean, you can get it with everything, but that everything, you have to check the quality. The point is like to go look online. If you look for, I don't know, the myth of charioteer in Plato, the metaphor of the soul with the charioteer and the two horses, you find a lot of absolutely not correct interpretation of representation of the myth. And this is a little bit sad, but at the end, it depends on the level of knowledge of the purpose of the person that is writing and using that kind of information to do something. I mean, last time I was watching, just because I wanted to have a little bit of different point of view on a lot of things, I started to watch a documentary about Atlantis, and then started to talk about Plato, and I was jumping on the couch because I said, but this is completely wrong. How can you say something like that? I mean, now this is specific, but to make it a long story very short, Plato was inventing myth to explain his philosophy. And he used Atlantis exactly in this way. It's not real. It's a myth. No one talked about Atlantis before him, just after. It's something that he invented as a symbol. What existed? There are many cities, many places, many civilizations that was wiped out, like Atlantis, like Santorini, like Knossos, or in Sardinia, the Nurage civilization. So there are many Atlantis, not just one. It's like it was feeding of this kind of things, but now we have to be a little bit more precise or more analytical in what we are doing. And of course, talking about AI take everything. It cannot know what is true or not. It take everything, analyze everything, grind everything, and put everything in front of you. And then this is the problem, that we are losing our ability to analyze the data, to see if what we are looking is real or not. I mean, think about all the fake pictures of the one in Iran that we are seeing now. It's saddening. It's very difficult. Every time you have to see something or you read something, the first question now that you have to ask is this real or is it fake?
I think it's a really big concern. We started running the books through plagiarism checkers as well, because key phrases will come up. And this happened with one of our books. a very big publisher contacted me and said, I think we've got a problem with plagiarism because one of their authors got their information online to put into their book, turned out to be a section from one of our books, and they ran it through a plagiarism checker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But can you protect yourself from this kind of situation, or you are completely powerless?
Well, in our contracts now, we have the author has to sign to say that no AI has been used in the process of writing the book. So that's one level. And we say at the front, where it just was the copyright thing, we now have to say that this material mustn't be used to train AI. But you can't stop. It's not really going to stop people doing it. There's unscrupulous people around who are lazy and don't want to apply themselves. I'm sorry, I think it is that. They're not doing the work.
That's not sustainable. That will never be sustainable in the long run. And that's what I always say. We have to be stiff-necked and we have to do it like old school. And we will have like a lot of competition the next coming years from that. But then after a while, people will be totally fed up with this gray mass of no real depth and all that. But we have like competition from that for now. But I think that will also make a big difference afterwards, and that aspect of AI will eat its own tail. Because you also have to think about this. So we have now, like in modern times, you had like access to Google, you had like access to international libraries and all that. And even though that, with a small amount of knowledge that has to be known in order to grasp subjects, it's almost like impossible to know it all. And now we want to gear it up. We can never, that will not be a quality boost. But what AI can do, however, is if we have like creative people, if you had to do like a check for like 5 years ago, then you had to go to the library, you had to go in your own book library. You have to find a lot of things out there. You had like hours of work until you find 2 or 3 phrases. And that's now a big advantage that you can take now, like a shortcut. And then I would say, okay, that's good to do it because it will win time. Whilst we can have focus on the things that really matter to do something creative. So I'm all for that. But from the moment that we as creative people find it necessary that AI writes a book for us, then you have to throw your pencil in the sea. Then you should really stop with everything. That's I cannot understand that you want to do something like that.
Well, well, also like you're talking about the next generation, we're in a place where there's the next generation that's coming in. That's why having these books. Because I know my sister with my niece, that's the go-to for all of them in their age group is going straight to ChatGPT or AI to ask questions. And my sister is like, absolutely not. So she makes her study. Like we have a little book club here where we read a ton of books on a subject. Like we just did King Tut, where we read like 8 different books on King Tut, where you can see the soul of each book and how it is. And now we're moving on to pirates. But but it's really like everyone's showing them the difference between AI, not just because their go-to is AI and they're always going to do AI until they're forced to read different books, forced to delve into all the different books.
I think so.
I think it's also.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're all enthusiastic people. The stage is yours.
I think we're all passionate about it, aren't we? Because we see the degeneration of the ability to think and express yourself, and it's all in sort of sound bites or reading an overview of something. The thought of reading a whole book to get the information that you need to study, I don't think that many kids do that now. I don't mean to be unjust to some of them, but I think it's a style of learning and a style of working that is not good. I don't think it stimulates your brain. I think people find it harder to concentrate.
Yeah, actually, they have just demonstrated that when all the society that use computer in school for learning and everything, the level of literacy plummeted down. So now in the northern country, I think there was an article on The Guardian about Sweden and, Norway. 2 northern countries, they have the same system. One used the computer, the other one not. One completely destroyed the level of literacy of the country, the other one not. What changed? the insertion of the computer in the learning process. But if I have to think about how I learn, maybe because it was my way of study, I prefer to have a book to sign, to annotate, to do everything. In this way I remember. When I have a digital book, even if I write with a pencil, digital pencil or whatever, I don't remember in the same way. I mean, even the physical object of a book, I remember where in the middle, in the end, is the sentences I need. When I read a digital book, I don't find it because there is not that feeling. I never found it back the sentence. So I started to study on digital books, and then I copy paste every time a sentence I needed, because otherwise I don't find it. And then if I can, I prefer every time to buy books, but sometimes it's difficult to find the book. This is the point. So there is the easy accessibility, and then I prefer to print everything and I can study normally. I mean, what for me is normally, but maybe it's just my mentality.
But scientifically, it's already proven that it really sticks more than 25% more than you read from a book than that you read from a screen. That's
I don't like reading on the screen. Even for writing, I write.
Let that aside, but it's like scientifically proven.
Yeah. Plus safer, like when you're reading at night and you fall asleep on your book, not your screen, right?
That's better.
When the Kindle first came out, they were saying that it was a death knell for the books, and paper books would become a thing of the past. And that didn't happen. What happened was that the sales of Kindle books, because our books are available in Kindle format too, so sales of books increased, Kindle books, and then they plateaued, and now hard copy outsells Kindle. People have realised. I mean, I hate reading on a Kindle or on my phone. I avoid it if I possibly can, because you don't have any context either. You can't see the cover.
No.
And I find I don't even remember what the book's called, because you don't pick it up and think, I'm going to read that.
But it is the physicality of the book that is important. There are books that are just, books that you read and you toss away. But there are books that are beautiful, books that you collect, books with amazing pictures, with printing that is printed at high quality of the paper. Or when you buy a book that's second-hand, they have the peculiar scent of the second-hand book.
Yeah.
I like it. I really, really.
I hate used books.
Even the scent.
I'm like, ooh.
I like it. I really love buying used books. When I moved to England, I discovered the charity shops, and I spent days buying books. Really, really, I love it.
I like, because it has other people's notes and what other people's thoughts are that maybe are a little bit different than yours. Because I always look at what people wrote and it's like, what a different way of seeing it. You're like learning from the person before you.
Find pictures, you find notes, you find things like the dry flowers of tickets. I love that.
Grocery lists. I had a grocery list in the back of one of my books.
I love that. I really, really love it. You have a little bit of the soul of the person that have the book before you. I think it's like the book is keep living. I like that.
Yeah, the thing. Or even the stores, the used bookstores have like a soul of their own. If we're talking like AI before and after, because they're completely different. They have a scent. They have the weird cat lady that's in the front usually, or like little nooks you can go through. I remember this one bookstore where it had a ladder to the top. So if you wanted to read the books on top, you climbed the ladder.
That's symbolically. People, I only have 5 minutes left because I have to see some clients still. What is the last thing that you want to give to our listeners, to our viewers, to round it up today in regards of astrology or whatever work that you do?
I'd say to keep an open mind, to start exploring astrology and just see what it can offer you. But I think it's the most fantastic journey on every level.
Yeah. So if I have a question, I always ask, what's the first, like if you read a chart, what's the first thing you look at? Because I know everybody has the different thing they hone in on for what they think is most important. I'm just,
Yeah, okay, the big three, sun, moon and ascendant.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the moon's really important. there was a joke a while back that where's your moon is the mating call of an astrologer, because once you know what someone's moon is, you know how to relate to them emotionally and mentally.
That's true.
And so I think that's probably, if I've got a reason to look at a chart rather than just interest, I would generally look at the moon to see what makes them tick.
That's true. Yeah. I was like, because that is like the most telling, because just for example, my moon is 10th house Taurus.
Is it? So you're sitting in the kitchen, aren't you?
No, I'm in a dining room, and my stand just broke, so I'm holding my phone. If that's so I got like
So it's food. Yeah. Taurus.
It's Taurus. No, that's Taurus. No, I'm always sitting. Usually, I'm with my books, and I'm like sitting on books because I have so many books and decks, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so telling for Taurus too," especially since it follows with my 11th house in Gemini, obviously, with my North Node in Chiron in the same house.
Wow. Yeah, that fits what you do.
Yes, everyone. Yeah. So I've got everything up top. But so I'm always curious because I know I have a friend who likes to see where the Black Lilith moon is, because more, dive deeper into.
Yeah, we've just done a book on that.
She will love that.
You should. I'm going to send you a whole list of people that you need to talk to.
Yes. She would love that, because Black Lilith moon, that's what she looks for first. That's the end all be all.
Yeah, it was stunning, and Christina's amazing. It's such a rich book. It's got beautiful reviews, really, even from people who don't usually use the Black Moon Lilith. Yeah,
send them our way. We will be very grateful.
Yeah, I'll send you a big list. Yeah. Really.
And I read all of them. Oh, sorry, go ahead. There's a delay. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, because as I said earlier, there's so many different areas within astrology, and as a publisher I get to see them all, but then I'm publishing the people who do it in depth, and so you need to speak to them, and then you can really go deeply into their specialist subject. You could say my specialist subject is publishing astrology, but each one of those authors has got so much to offer. Their books are incredible.
Well, and you've written a couple books yourself, if I had that right, from the, or like an analogy of your blogs. That was your book, right? Yeah.
I was treated for cancer 12 years ago, so I wrote the blog from that. Yeah, and then as a change of scenery, I tried to write fiction, but I'm not really fiction. Moon Pluto doesn't write fiction, I don't think.
Oh, no. Like I said, yours is just to put everybody else's works into the world, so that,
Yeah, that's what I enjoy doing. It's an absolute privilege. And we've got, there's somebody else that you need to talk to as well, Christine Fontana. She's written about, there's an asteroid called Amazon, and she's written about the Amazon tribes in the Eurasian steppes, who were women.
Oh, wow.
And that's interesting. Yeah, I'm sure she'd love to talk to you guys. So you're going to be busy.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, because I try and read all the books, and I feel like I'm reading like 7 books right now, and it's like, I have not enough hours in the day. I need like Hermione's time changer thing,
Well, I'll add you to our reviews, and then I can let you know about all the books as they come out.
Yes, oh my God.
Because most of the authors want to do, promotion and talk about their passion, really.
Yes.
And they really know their stuff.
Oh, yeah. So yes, I love that. Would love that.
Thank you very, very, very much. And I hope that we can also invite you for like a second time, maybe like in the future, because I know that you have some more interesting things to tell, as does Andrea, who is already like a house guest.
Yes.
It's good. Thank you for inviting me on. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very, very much. So I'm really sorry that I have to run. We had to somehow squeeze it in because I have to do my clients in therapy and all that. So I have to run up. And
thank you. Thanks for everything.
Thank you very much. It was very inspiring. Thank you very much. And we see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.